Well, President Trump welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron to the White House. The two leaders are set to discuss a number of economic, diplomatic, and global issues and work to deepen the historic alliance between the two countries. In a joint conference, Mr. Trump and Mr. Macron were optimistic about the future. They addressed topics such as the Iran nuclear deal, the crisis in Syria, and also touched on trade. Celia Belin joins us now from our Washington bureau to discuss all these topics. Celia is a Brookings Institute visiting fellow and former French Foreign Ministry advisor. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you saw that press conference there. What do you make of the fact that President Trump and Macron were there together? Do you think that they could reconcile their contrasting views on the Iran deal?
Well, it's going to be a hard fight. On Iran, they are on opposite side. The French want to protect the Iran deal. Obviously, President Trump has said several times that it's a terrible deal that needs to be scrapped altogether or renegotiated. However, President Macron can hope for maybe a postponing of the decision by 3 to 6 months in order to gain some time and see if there's a way out.
How does Macron convince President Trump, who really was very vocal about completely pulling out and said it was something that his base would like to do? How do they find common ground in a situation like that?
You mean in Syria?
Yes. Excuse me. Particularly, I'm talking about the Iran nuclear deal.
Oh, in the Iran nuclear deal, there are several options. He can just explain that there's no reason why the newly nominated Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, once it's confirmed, should arrive with a major crisis on his hands. And maybe that's why he could, save a few months and then discuss of a plan B. Or maybe President Trump can leave the deal and reestablish sanctions for the United States, but not reestablish extraterritorial sanctions for Europeans, and therefore allow European companies to continue investing in Iran. So they have many options that they can discuss, even if President Trump wants out.
When you talk about Syria as well, and you look at it, Macron at one point had taken credit for convincing President Trump, to actually keep troops on the ground there. When he was asked today at that press conference, when do you think would be a good time for U.S. troops to pull out? He didn't put down exactly what he thought would be a significant timeline. What do you make of the fact that he was very careful sort of to walk that back? And do you see that happening in the near future, a troop pullout?
I think President Trump was very clear in what he wanted. He wants a troop pullout after the defeat of ISIS. And so the whole question will be discussing what exactly is the defeat of ISIS, because does it mean that just the last soldier has been killed, or does it mean that you have stabilized the country afterwards? And I think even if President Trump was to pull out troops, President Macron will try and convince him to continue working on a framework to provide stability and security after ISIS is defeated. And apparently, we could tell from the press conference that they seem to agree on that framework.
And we know that on May 1st, the EU's exemption from U.S. tariffs will expire. Trade, a big topic of discussion, particularly for Macron. Do you think that Macron can actually influence the president on that front?
Hopefully he can, because I think Europeans are waiting for him to do exactly that. Trade is one of the major preoccupations for Germany, for for President Macron's best ally in the European Union. And so if the French president can try and deliver on it, at least the President Macron and Angela Merkel have coordinated on the message, and the message is you don't launch a trade war against your allies, and we should work together for fair trade with China, for example.
Celia Belin, thank you very much for joining us, Celia.
Thank you.